Okay, good morning. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 28th, 2024 Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No, sir.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 21st, 2024.
Motion to approve those minutes.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 5, bid openings. I don't see any. Number 6, matters from other department heads or their representatives. No, nothing? Okay, moving on to correspondence. Letter A, correspondence received from Dean Button requesting $60,000 of CIB funding to be allocated for general engineering services for NEES Engineering and corresponding agreement submitted for approval.
A couple of weeks ago, the Capital Improvement Board met and approved a funding allocation for NEES Engineering to do general engineering services throughout the city. It's a sort of an annual contract that we renew to have NEES help us with drainage problems or CAD work or those sorts of things that we do that just come up that we can't do in engineering, so we'd ask for your approval.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Correspondence, letter B, correspondence received from Reith Riley requesting the outside single-lane sidewalk closures from April 29th to May 17th on Chicago Avenue for emergency substructure patching.
So the board has considered this prior. The contractor couldn't complete it during the time frame they requested, and so this is just a new request. They're repairing the substructure, patching underneath the bridge on Chicago Street, the toll road bridge under Chicago Street. So we'd ask for your approval of this action.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Correspondence letter C, correspondence received from Murphy Pipeline Contractors requesting to close Michigan Street from the Buckeye Terminal Pipeline Building to US 20 on-off ramps at Kennedy with detour routes being posed on April 1st, 2024 and expected to be completed on or before July 1st, 2024 weather permitting.
So, April 1st is Monday. I don't think they're actually going to be ready to close the road, nor do I think that they have the NDOT permit finished. But I'd like to go ahead and leave the date as is, just so that we have it on the record. So this is a project that the Hammond Sanitary District has a leaking force main underneath the IHB tracks on Kennedy near the Kennedy North Pump Station, which is immediately south of US 20. What they need to do is, and they purchased the materials prior, they need to pull a liner through the existing pipeline to seal it from the inside. And it's going to take about 60 days to do all the work. They need to isolate each side of the pipeline, and then they need to bypass the pump station. So they're going to run hoses up onto US 20 in the eastbound lanes to be able to run the bypass so that we can keep Kennedy pumping. This is the the sanitary sewer station that serves most of Hessville, right? Basically north of 169th. So this is a two-month project. We still got some coordination to do with NDOT, but this is a city project. The contractor is Murphy Pipeline. They are working with local contractors to do, excavation work and those sorts of things. So I'd ask for your approval of this action as stated.
What exactly is going to be closed?
Yeah, lots is going to be closed.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have to close Kennedy Avenue, right? Because they're going to tie in at the pump station, and the force main goes across Kennedy. So you will not be able to progress north or south Kennedy basically at Michigan. Also, Michigan will be closed from Kennedy to the Buckeye Pipeline building, right? There's a building there somewhere east of Lear Seating, right, where they're going to have to close that section of US 20 because we have this bypass pumping that we need the bridge to go over because we have to cross IHB and keep that line active. So US 20, a state asset, will be closed for 60
What
days.
about the South Shore Station? What's the access going to be?
I've reached out to Mike Rowe at NICD to inform them that access will have to come from Indianapolis Boulevard to the South Shore Station, so.
Is it closed 2 months straight? Like
Yes, sir.
Kennedy Avenue will be inaccessible in Michigan for 2 months.
Yes, sir.
And it starts Monday?
So the contractor's mobilizing in on Monday. This is the request that was made. It's likely to start within a week of that time period.
Have they been advised by engineering to have signage and detour?
Yep, we've reviewed the detour plan, recognizing that the detour is going to put them on local streets in East Chicago. So we're working with Joe Allegretti, who works for the sanitary district and also for the city of East Chicago, to get permission to use Railroad and 152nd as our detour, which is already currently being detoured through a project in East Chicago because the boulevard's closed. They're right around Chicago.
Right.
You know what? When did the correspondence get to us? Because it seems like they're coming to us pretty late.
It was Monday, I think I got the
First
correspondence.
opportunity.
Yes,
And they want to close a week from Monday for 2 months.
yes.
Do you have an
Well,
opinion, Dean, on it?
technically Monday, they want to close it,
So I'm
but
saying a week from when they gave you the letter,
true.
they want to close for 2 months.
Yeah, and this is
And they're not here today.
the sanitary district?
No. Is that who's doing it? Doesn't-
Sanitary district's the owner, Murphy is their contractor, and this came through the sanitary district to me to get on the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting.
I mean, as long as the sanitary district has talked with engineering and the administration knows, I mean, PD's got obviously, it's a big deal for you guys.
The good thing is because it's at the, it's north end of our city one way and, we don't travel Michigan too often. It won't be that big of a deal, but it's going to be, a problem traffic-wise because people are going to be going through neighborhoods and stuff.
Yep.
So,
So if you're going westbound on Michigan, you have to get off on Kennedy to go through East Chicago then, right?
No, you won't be able, you'll have to stay on Klein
Oh.
to go to
Can't
East
even get up at
Chicago.
the bridge?
You won't be able to
I
go-
don't believe so. I have to clarify that. They may, at westbound, may be able to come off on the bridge, but at this stage, it would only be those folks that ignore the detour, right? We'd give them a way out, but then they'd have to turn north into East Chicago. The designated detour is Klein Avenue to Chicago, to Railroad, 152nd, then south on the boulevard. That's the designated detour.
Dean, just for clarification, so NDOT has approved it already or has not?
They're waiting for NDOT approval because they haven't completed all of NDOT's requirements, like getting concurrence from East Chicago to use local streets on the detour.
So there's no way this could probably happen before April 1st anyway, correct?
I don't think it's going to start April 1st. I mean, that's when the contractor expects to be here, right? So they won't shut it down on the 1st, but it'll be shortly thereafter, as soon as they can get the bypass pumping up and running. In terms of message boards, I'll have to double check and see what sort of message boards we'll have up.
Will we have a chance to talk about this again next week potentially to get these routes that people are going to have to take?
We can talk about it again next week if you'd like, sure.
I mean,
You
I
want to
just-
defer this till next week?
I'd like to because I'd like to
Okay.
know what the detour is going to be. I know this has nothing to do with you, I get that, but it's going to be an absolute disaster for people traveling through the city, particularly policemen and firemen, so I would just like to know the detour. I don't know if we can change anything or not.
So we'll confirm with the sanitary district, but I'm sure you would be able to open the barricades and bring fire engine through and make emergency accommodations because it's likely that they'll be on the eastbound lanes. No, yeah, no, they'll be on the eastbound lanes, right? So the westbound lane would be open and emergency services, like we do on the Borman when they close the on-ramps, you pull the barricades back, and I'm not suggesting to anyone in the public to do that, only government officials could pull the barricade back and drive through.
Okay.
We find that people do that, they just pull the barricades back and pull through, and we're not suggesting that except for emergency services.
Gotcha.
Dean, quick question. So will the intersection at Michigan and the Boulevard be open for north and south traffic?
True.
Okay, and the Lear's seating entrance will be accessible for employees
From the boulevard, yes.
from the boulevard?
Yep.
Okay,
They'll have to come in eastbound on Michigan to Lear seating.
so the real closure is Michigan and Kennedy where the bridge is? Where the bridge-
The firm closure is there, but we have to run the bypass pumping all the way to the Buckeye Pipeline Terminal Building, which is east of Lear seating.
East of this.
And I have a detour plan I can show you.
Okay.
And it wasn't complete, and I made markups, and I sent it back to the engineer for clarification and waiting for an updated plan. But essentially, they're using Klein to Chicago.
Okay.
So you want to defer till next week?
I mean, I'd like to just
Fine.
get clarification on the.
Not a problem.
detour,
I don't
if
think
that's
it's going to upset anything.
Okay,
I'm glad we had an opportunity to talk about this today.
us too. Are you okay with, Kevin? You are?
Yeah, 4-4?
Okay. We're gonna do that then.
Okay.
Motion to defer this matter till April 4th, 2024.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Letter D, correspondence received from All Saints Church in St. Casimir Parish requesting to have traffic control on Friday, March 29th, 2024, from 10:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. during live procession of the Stations of the Cross with attached route. Let's say stations. You good with this other route? It's Hammond, Toll, yeah, that's good. So, that's good. Right? Yeah.
That's for both locations, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Motion to approve and forward to EMA for follow-up.
I second.
All in favors? Sorry. hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. President, could we go back on the agenda to item 7C? I know that Mr. Krasinski just appeared, and I don't know if he's got any additional information that he needs to talk about regarding that closure. I just want to make, if he wants the opportunity. Did you want to talk about it or get any questions? Is that what you were here, Marlon?
Yes,
He came for this particular
Yeah.
action. He was
Yeah.
delayed.
I apologize. I was,
It's okay.
I was in a different office.
That's okay.
How can I help you answer some questions?
So we're concerned, Mylon, about the closures and the route that people are going to have to take.
We are too.
Okay, so do you have that concluded yet?
Yes, it's pretty extensive closure, as you know. Kennedy Avenue underneath Michigan will have to be closed. So that means we'll have to push traffic to 165th and into the boulevard and around. Also, Michigan Street will have to be closed as well. So we have that traffic plan in place. I wish it was included in the letter from Dean. It probably was not.
So one question is, if they're going north on Kennedy,
Yes,
is there a hard closure at the bridge there?
there will be a hard closure at the bridge, yes. So which means most of the traffic going north will have to go to 165th and to the boulevard around, because you can't go any further. You could go north, but you can't go any further than the pump station.
Because what I'm afraid of is people are going to get down to that end and then realize it's closed and start going in the neighborhoods.
There will be signage at 165th, as you're approaching 165th northbound, to go west on 165th, and then the boulevard around, yes.
So what's the route for an emergency vehicle that needs to get onto Michigan if it's going north on Kennedy? Does it have to go to Klein and then in?
Yep.
Yes.
So PD and FD need to.
Well, this is big for PD and FD.
Really big for FD
Yeah.
because they go to St. Catherine's Hospital.
I agree 100%. We did talk a little bit to the administration at the fire station. They have an idea and they know. We're not keeping any secrets. So, yeah, this is very big. The situation exists is that this force main has been looking at being prepared for almost 2 years now. And since I've been at the district, we need to move on this. It's having some issues with the train tracks that are immediately west of the pump station.
So again, there's a hard closure northbound Kennedy,
At the pump station,
pump
which
station.
is Michigan, yes.
and then you can travel east on the Michigan to Lear, correct?
Be west.
West on Michigan. I thought he
No,
said
no.
east.
No, from the boulevard, Jeff.
Eastbound from the boulevard.
Yeah, that's what I meant, eastbound from the boulevard.
From the
to Lear.
boulevard all the way to Buckeye. Because the piping will be replaced up to Buckeye Pipeline, which is a little further east than Lear.
Between Lear and the bridge.
Yes. No, Buckeye's on,
Well, it's right here.
just before
About halfway between Kennedy and
all the way, yeah.
So when you're,
I'm
the
with- yeah,
ramps
Kennedy,
that get you
Kennedy,
from
yes.
Kennedy to Michigan, those will both be closed?
The south ramp will be closed,
Okay,
because we have to run hoses up to the bridge
okay.
and to the.
But westbound Michigan to northbound Kennedy, okay,
But it's planned to full close.
Full close.
that's gonna be also closed?
And it's a state highway,
Okay.
so the
Full closure here before Kennedy, and full closure about halfway between the boulevard.
No.
So there's a chance that people could exit, if they ended up westbound on US 20, they could exit and get onto northbound Kennedy. Did I say that right, Michigan?
Yep.
Kennedy?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
The D Chicago, if they ignore the primary routes.
At Klein
It's
Avenue.
set up, westbound at Klein on US 20, northbound on Klein or southbound on Klein.
just so the board knows, as we do this major slip lining of this force main, which is the sanitary line, we do have to continue a force main, so there will be a temporary force main that's going to be laying on the roadway. And Dean was right, it has to go up and over the overpass, the Kennedy Avenue overpass on Michigan Street to the west to basically Buckeye, a parking lot entrance.
It's the only way we have to cross the IHP line, is using the bridge.
So this is probably impossible to know, but what are the chances of it being done less than 60 days or worse, going past 60 days?
Both.
Which is more likely, I guess?
Sooner.
They're trying to be conservative.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Dean is right.
We'll open this as soon as humanly possible.
Okay, I don't think we can do much else as long as there's as much signage as possible.
Oh, there's going to be, definitely additional, yes.
Mile, do we know when there is?
I'd like to say the company that's going to do the rerouting of the force main may be starting on site within 2 weeks, but they will be off the roadway for that amount of time. It's going to take a while to get all the signage up and everybody used to what's going on. Dean, thank you for helping us with the press release as well. We're fine tuning it. So
But the closure won't happen Monday, right?
it will not happen. It will not happen on Monday.
That's what the letter states.
Right. It's just preparing everyone that we are going to give a notice to proceed.
So I would suggest that if there's any way to give FD especially the heads up that, if there's a way to keep it open as long as possible for FD until they close it, have to close it, I think that's going to be the number one concern, more than PD even. Just because, as Mylan pointed out, going to St. Catherine's that's the route.
It is.
So anything we can do to keep that open for FD, I don't even know how you do that, Dean. I know you can't do
We can't.
close and open, close
No,
and open. But
'cause
I
it-
guess
'cause
what I'm saying is until it really has to be closed, if they could leave that open for FD.
Of course. I mean, Kevin, you're right. Once they start digging and opening up Kennedy Avenue, the pit area where they make all the connections, that's when Kennedy will have to be closed. Yeah. Until then, they could try to work on at least the pump station side, which is the east side of Kennedy, and do stuff over on Michigan on the shoulder, on the south shoulder, the eastbound lanes, as much as they possibly can. And we'll make sure the contractors know that.
Okay, initially, we were going to defer this to next week, but
Okay.
I'm going to entertain a motion now, so.
I'd like to amend my motion and approve this as presented.
And I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. And we would just ask the signage goes up as soon as possible.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yes, and we're going to get the word out to both the neighborhood, to the businesses along Michigan, and naturally, we'll have probably, I'm sure, a number of conversations with police and fire.
Okay.
Kennedy, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Kevin.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dean, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to letter eight, number 8, matters from board members. You have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on to number 9, new business. Letter A, agreement with Centos received from Controller's Office, submitted for approval.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Letter B, resolution and intergovernmental agreement with Hammond Department of Redevelopment for the transfer of property located 4712 Holman Avenue, submitted for approval.
Mr. President, real quick, I just wanted to also reference and thank the Controller's Office for that Cintas agreement. That was a cost savings measure to combine 4 different contracts into one, which ends up saving the city money, which is, is great. And so that's good work by the Controller's Office, and I think also by Leopardo, right? So onto the agenda item, specifically this property. This is a property, Dean knows about this. It's at I think it's Chicago. It's right at the roundabout at Chicago and Homan. Is it 4712 Homan? Yeah, right. So the legal description, redevelopment needs it for their continued redevelopment of the area between downtown and Gateway Station. We had to cut off a part that was right away for the roundabout. But other than that, I would request its approval as presented.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Letter C, request for right of encroachment into public right-of-way at the 200 block of Clinton Street.
I believe this came from the Director of City Planning.
It's the federal
which
courthouse.
is
We're just finishing it up.
Yeah.
We request its approval.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Letter D, right-of-way permit submitted from engineering, submitted for approval.
Doing my best to play the part of Mr. Gordish today. Sorry, he can't be here. We have one request today, and it's about the 2500 block of Calumet. During the course of some work that was being done up there for the city, the fiber optic cable that serves the school city of Hammond was damaged as part of the work, and so this is to reconnect that cable about approximately the 2500 block of Calumet. We'd ask for your approval.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Letter E, garage sale permit submitted for approval.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Letter F, request for rental registration hearings.
Motion to set that date for April 14th, 2024.
I second.
I think it's 11. Is it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. For April 11th, 2024.
Yeah.
April 11th. I second that, April 11th.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Letter G, request for late business license hearing.
Motion to set that for April 4th, 2024.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 10, old business, letter A, status for 1463 Indianapolis Boulevard.
Good morning to the board again. So we had this agreement signed with a Pedro Correa. It has a status date for June 6th. It has an expiration date of June 8th. I'm talking about the rehab agreement. This is a property that's been under a demolition order for some time. Mr. Correa signed the agreement, agreeing to its terms, and then after signing it, has requested a waiver of the bond, I believe, which is, of course, $10,000 pursuant to this board's resolution back several years ago. I believe Mr. Kearney's position is that he is not in favor of allowing that waiver, and so that's where we're at. And I think Mr. Correa is here to talk to the board as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Could you
Good
give us your
morning.
full name, please?
My name is Pedro Correa. We've been trying to get the bond from the insurance companies, but they won't give it to me because I'm a new, like a new business. So I'm trying. This is the first time we do this. We didn't know the house was under demolition, but we've been trying to get it. We just can't. The amount of work that the house needs, we need the money to rehab it. So that's why we're trying to save on the bond.
Is Is there a name of a company that you're with, or is it just
We have a new company that we just registered,
GMA?
GMA Realty.
Is that GMA?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so GMA Realty is is who is
Yeah.
actually the owner, Mr. Correa signed on behalf of GMA Realty.
yeah, and I'm,
Yeah, so, yeah, Mr. Kearney would like to be heard on this matter. Go to the other one if you want.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
I have no doubt of the intentions of Mr. Carrera going forward with this project, but as long as this has been on the demolition list, it's exchanging hands so frequently that our demolition order is going to be running out of time. No one's done anything to the property, and all we see is this shift, and I don't mean this to be rude or whatever, but it's a shell game. It's going from one person to the next person. We're in a rehab agreement, it goes to the next person, they sell it, much like we're dealing with Ruth. And that's what I'm trying to avoid by saying that if the $10,000 is necessary for the work that's being in, then how do we know that there's enough funds to finish the demolition itself or the rehab itself?
Yeah, I think that's our biggest concern, right, is that like, if you're having trouble getting a $10,000 performance bond, or you can't post the cash bond, do you have the funds to actually do the rehab in the time that you've agreed to do it, which is by July 1. And time's ticking, right? I mean, this was signed, let's see, in March. Or wait, actually, sorry. This was signed, it was approved on March 7th, so we're 3 weeks in. So, I mean, and it expires June 8th. So at the end of the day, it's still subject to a demo order. We need to find out if Mr. Correa has the, financial wherewithal to actually do the project. And so that's kind of what I'd like him to address to the board.
yeah, well, we had some funds already because we didn't know that it was for demolition. It has a lot of work that the city wants us to do. It's like almost rebuilding the property. We didn't have those $10,000 that they want us to use for the insurance bond. But I've tried with all my insurances, and even my contractor has been helping me, and we haven't gotten back from them. So that's the reason why.
Which insurance, I mean, have you tried,
It's Indiana Borough, and I think one right here in Indianapolis. I'm not sure.
How long have you owned it, Mr. Correa?
We bought it like a couple of weeks ago.
well, you had to buy it before March 7th,
Yeah.
right? March 7th is when you signed the agreement, so
Yeah.
it's before then.
Yeah, like we closed, I think, the end of February.
Okay, so recent. Yeah, I mean, the property is one where we'd like to see a rehab, but again, we're just doing a dance between owners.
They didn't tell us that the house was.
And that's there's an obligation of any seller under the Indiana Unsafe Building Act to inform both us and the buyer of a demolition order. And if they didn't do that, they didn't inform him of that, he has the ability to go after the seller because of that. But that's between him and his lawyer to discuss. I know that Mr. Luter does have a couple of insurance companies that may be open to talking to you about a demolition bond. We can't really recommend one, but we can tell you who other people have gone to in the past. And so Mr. Luter will give you that. Yeah, I don't know where we're at. I mean, do you have like contractors set up, ready to go?
Yeah.
Mr. Kearney, have you seen anything to do with those contractors?
The contractor is popular, he's trustworthy and capable. I know he tried to get the bond in place, but you can imagine a contractor trying to get a bond for a building he doesn't own. I don't see that happening.
So the question I have is, you guys mentioned there's kind of like a shell game going on with ownership. Has he been a part of that game?
No, he's the most recent person to buy the property, I'm sure.
Okay.
And I say, again, trust his intentions are true. The problem is, okay, now it's more than they expected. Is he going to sell it, or is someone else going to sell it or come and buy it, and then we're doing this all over again? Meanwhile, our demo orders close to being expired. It's just, we're getting no progress done to the building itself. If he can withhold those funds, put up a cash bond, and use other funds that he has to do the work. As it goes, as it progresses, again, I trust the contractor. As it progresses, maybe we can look at some point near the time necessary for that money to be used in a rehab. At that point, maybe we can release the bond. I don't know if that's something that we can do or not, but at least at this point, we would have money in place to guarantee that the work is going to be done, or we will cash that bond and do the demolition.
The order was signed by the board on January 5th of '23, so we're about a year and 2 months into the 2-year order.
What did we do with that house that we had on either Alice, Bill, Claude, one over there? There was a female that came in, she couldn't afford this either. Does anybody recall? She just
I remember her. It
She
was
just
on
eventually,
Walter. It was
she
on
eventually
Walter.
did it?
Yes.
It was on Walter. What did we end up doing with that?
It's
Yeah.
finished, correct?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and now,
Any
the
follow
one
through?
thing I would say about that is that that property was going to be for her family,
Right.
which is why we waived the bond. I mean, it's rare you waive the bond.
Right, no, absolutely.
But, I mean, this is a property we'd like to see fixed up, I assume. It's up in Robertsdale. It doesn't look like it's in horrible, it's not gonna fall over, right? So,
We had
Just a question, Kelly, because he wasn't a part of that ownership changing around, and you says his intentions are good, he has a good contractor, is it possible to meet him in the middle and do a 5,000, or does it have to be 10,000?
I would entertain that. I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, is that something that's
That's something-
doable?
that's something-
Because now you're showing some effort, we're giving you some leniency. I mean, is that okay? Is that possible?
yeah, I mean, the board can modify its own resolution. If you wanna modify it and impose a $5,000 bond, provided it's paid in 2 weeks, and we get moving.
Mr. Correa, we're putting some trust in you here.
No,
We're
for
gonna
sure.
lower the amount, that you're gonna get the work done and start progressing right away.
Yes.
Are
I'm
we
fine with
okay
that.
with that?
I'm fine with that.
Are you guys okay with this?
Could we set it for like a May 1 status or whatever the first Thursday in May is?
It is, yeah.
It is May 1?
May 2nd.
Second.
Okay. Well, or Mr. Luter suggested 2 weeks so we can check and see if he paid the bond. And he's off.
That's fine.
Okay, so why don't we go like 3 weeks?
April 11th's 2 weeks, April 18th's 3 weeks. Which one you want? April 18th?
Sure.
Okay.
A motion to set the matter for status for April 18th, 2024, and to decrease the bond to $5,000.
All right.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
I also
Mr.
know
Greer.
that it's set for status on June 6th, which is the expiration. So we'll keep that date, but we'll add in the 18th of April.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, moving on to letter B, status for 658 State Street.
So 658 State, a little disappointing news. You may recall that Ms. Cornejo, the daughter of Mr. Cornejo, her name was Karina, I think. Is she here today?
No.
Okay, she came in a couple weeks ago, you may recall, and said, I'm trying to help my dad out. It's that brick building on State Street. And she said she was going to go and make sure that he paid the inspection fee. That did not happen. So we are now here without anything going on that building. The board's well aware of its condition. It entered an order that was recorded on February 5th of 2024. So it is under a demolition order. I'd request that we be allowed to bid this out, and we'll add it to it's not up for the April 4th bid, which I'm actually a little surprised about, but that must have been our mistake on that. So we'd like to put it out to bid and see what happens, because there's been no movement, I don't believe, right? Okay, no movement, so,
We all agree.
okay, thank you. No action needed, thanks,
Okay.
we'll just put it out to bid.
Okay, letter C, status for 5235 State Line.
All right, Mr. Flores is here. He signed a new updated rehab agreement, so I'd like to present that to the board. And I think there's good news on the
The
water.
plumbing situation?
I think we've got some good
Here
news.
it goes.
Okay.
So I believe Mr.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Could you go ahead and move up to the mic here?
Yeah.
Where are we at with the plumbing situation?
It's almost done. He put all the water inside. Yes, I need just wait a couple lines and to finish.
Hey, inside too.
Yeah, everything inside. Yeah.
too.
The inside's almost done
Yeah,
also?
but my plumbing is waiting for the water meter.
Water meter. Yeah.
But he said I have to make the inspection first, and after they make it the water meter. He told me right now. And,
So, sorry, Soto, just to refresh, the holdup here was the water service from the main to the building. They went through a couple plumbers, area plumbing, pulled the permit shortly after the last meeting. That has been installed, I think you said he did in about a day. That's passed the open hole inspection, still needs a final, but we know it's at least connected. They want the water meter, but speaking with our plumbing inspector, until the interior is roughed and all the piping is run for the downstairs and upstairs, we're not going to have a request a water meter be installed by water department. So once this plumber gets that completed, calls for his rough inspection, I'll get together with Craig Bell, and if he's okay with it, then we'll have water installed their meter.
Okay, so how much more time do we want to give them?
Well, we have another 90-day agreement, and the hope is that they can get the exterior and the residential on the second floor completed, and then the downstairs is ready to be built out whenever they determine a commercial use.
So do we need a status just before those 90 days?
Just before the 90 days of that. I think it's July 1st, if I read it correctly.
Yeah, I'd like to set it right around the date of the
It
expiration.
is July 1st, yeah.
And that might be,
June 27th, is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Motion is set for status for June 27th, 2024.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
And I'd also like to have the board approve the rehab agreement.
Okay,
Motion to approve the rehab agreement.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay, moving on to letter D, status for 4749 Hickory Street.
Happy to report, and you should, this is one in which it was up, the current rehab agreement expires on the 1st, and Mr. Luter has indicated that although it's not moving as quickly as he had hoped, there is some interior HVAC being done that just failed, but it was just because they didn't have power.
it was actually the electrical rough that failed.
Okay, sorry about that.
I apologize, I got that clarified this morning.
All right, so I have an updated rehab agreement. It's the first extension.
Okay.
And if we have that approved by the board, it should be signed by the owner, and I would request a status at or around the expiration of that.
It's also July 1st, so that June 27th date again?
Sure.
Okay.
Motion to approve the rehab agreement and set for status for June 27th, 2024.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 11, rental registration hearings, letter A, 4341 Elm. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Could you give us your name, please?
My name is Laura Garcia.
Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
So when I came to register our properties for Reliable Properties, who they have several, it was brought to my attention that 4341 Elm had not been registered last year. And so I was not aware of that. And so that is why I am here. More than likely, the property manager who was at the time probably overlooked it, forgot it. And so when I came to register it, then this was brought up.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, yeah, we have this property registered on time from 2019 through 2022. We were only missing for 2023. Other than that, we've had no issues.
Okay.
Motion to waive the rental registration late fee.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You want to wait till after the meeting? They'll get you a form
Yes, I
you can
will.
take downstairs.
Yeah. Okay, number 12, meetings open to the public.
Mr.
Chief, nothing?
No one here?
I just have one quick request. The garage sale permits that were approved, if those addresses could be forwarded to my attention, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nothing to float?
Nothing to flout. Okay.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.